Hello, this is day 12 World History. This is 12b by the grace of God, and we're still talking about pharaohs of the New Kingdom. Hatshepsut was a female pharaoh who encouraged trade. Akhenaten, and also known as Amenhotep, notice how he has part of the God's name in there, the fourth, was a monotheist. So that's pretty awesome, and I wonder if he was influenced by Moses and the Israelites. Whenever I see a monotheist among a polytheistic culture, even if they didn't have all aspects of God right and his covenant, it's a good start to know that there is one God. That is a good foundational place to be. So yay for Akhenaten. And he was the husband of Nefertiti, who you may have heard of, kind of famous name. King Tut, famous tomb because they discovered his remains, his mummification, and his tomb was largely intact when they discovered it. So he got pretty famous that way, walk like an Egyptian. King Tut, we got all this lore around him, cultural stuff. Ramses II, powerful, ruled for 67 years, defeated the Hittites. Ramses may have interacted with the Israelites as well. We looked at that document that kind of talks about the Israelites, many generations of living in Egypt, gradually being enslaved. I think I just went quickly by a piece of art I'd like to show you again. Several, actually. Okay, so this is a relief known as the Blind Harpist that was found in ancient Egypt and is now in the Detroit Institute of Art. There you go, the Blind Harpist. And then this is some architecture of ancient Egypt. You can see there how this tomb from the New Kingdom was built into the side of a cliff here, so it's kind of interesting, and you can go visit that today. This is a painting from ancient Egypt, pretty realistic for the old days, and it appears to be a family there, different ages. Piece of jewelry that they would have worn in ancient Egypt. I don't know about you, I would wear that. So they had some pretty nice jewelry to wear. It's amazing to me that looks just like something that we might find in a jewelry store today, but yet it's from the BC, from the old Egypt. And one of the ways they were able to find so much art from ancient Egypt was, of course, that people took their treasures and stored them in this airtight place in the pyramids because they wanted them in the afterlife. And so you could question, should we have this in the Detroit Institute of Art? Should it have been left in the tomb because that was the owner's goal for it? Well, there you have it. And then, of course, another monument to rulers. They would, start building the tomb as soon as the ruler came to office, and then they'd carve their images in the stonework here. It's not unlikely that Israelite slave labor helped to build this very architecture that you're seeing here. I mentioned in an earlier lecture, see if you remember, what is something odd that the Egyptians worshipped? They worshipped cats. So if you have a cat, tell your cat, Egyptians used to think you were a lowercase g god and like an idol. And I don't know if you would worship your cat. I hope not. I think we should worship the creator of the animals, but I think it's kind of interesting and a little bit funny that Egyptians would worship the cat. They found them to be a very mysterious and sacred animal, and they wanted their eyes to look like cat eyes with the kohl eyeliner. New Kingdom. It's all about the New Kingdom. Some drawings that may have represented how the ordinary or perhaps the wealthy people lived in the New Kingdom, maybe with a swimming pool, palm trees, kind of interesting stuff being carried around. Remember, you get an idea in world history from illustrations. What was their life like? That's really interesting to me. What did they store things in? A little overlap with how people lived in Jesus' day, not too far away. And you remember Jesus' family actually went to Egypt to run away from King Herod. And that would have been at the turn of the BC AD, of course. So a little bit later, during the decline of the New Kingdom, the Roman Empire at that point would have kind of said, we own Egypt. But Egypt, like any Roman province, would have retained some of its, its unique customs and features as well. Its own culture. You got a cat eye on this golden pharaoh here. Sometimes this gold will be overlaid on top of the cast in which the mummy would be kept. It's pretty ornate. And this is our famous King Tut. In 1922, his tomb had been undisturbed by the previous explorers, and so his treasures were brought out for modern historians